Chapter 11, Case Studies. Welcome. So here we're going to take a look at different scenarios and how cultural intelligence comes in and can help you. So one or more can apply to you. And so I think this could be very, very helpful. So the first one is a diverse team working locally. So you have Maya, who's leading a product team at a San Francisco Bay Area startup. She wants to create an inclusive culture, that embraces diversity, but also leverages and delights her customers. So it's not just about getting the work done, but doing amazing work. So as she's chasing her ideal people, for her team from different backgrounds, and wants to work them happily and successfully together, she's frustrated when working with people from different generations, genders, and cultures. Some people get on her nerve. She's not quite sure why. She was given her this team. She was given a team recently, and she feels the need to prove her leadership and chops in order to get promoted and get the raise she needs to afford a house in the San Francisco Bay Area. Houses are very expensive here. So we ended up meeting at a happy hour that a friend of ours, Raman, was hosting. And by helping her develop her cultural intelligence, she was able to adapt her leadership behavior based on who she was dealing with. So one especially challenging person was an older gentleman, Randall, who she felt was not taking her seriously. But by showing Randall that she appreciated her experience and wisdom, but politely and firmly made clear who was in charge, she was able to be taken more seriously and ended up developing a great relationship. By leveraging Randall's experience as well as the various perspective he brought and other people onto the team, they were able to create out an out-of-the-box solution that was shipped in 3 weeks, ahead of schedule and on the budget. By using cultural intelligence, Maya was able to understand herself, her values, and adapt her behavior to engage and motivate her various team members. There's Randall, who was from another generation. There was a German, a Hungarian, a Chinese American. And so cultural intelligence allowed her to relate to each of these different people in their way and motivate everybody to go in the same direction more effectively. So communication-wise, collaboration-wise, all those breakdowns coming from misunderstandings, they were removed because she was able to put in place systems and communication standards that would make it work with everybody. So everybody was on the same page and find a common ground that everybody can be comfortable with, instead of everybody adapting to one specific type. So that's locally, a diverse team locally. Now you can have a distributed team that is same company but different locations, different cultures. In this case, the team leader was Tom, and this was a team of EY with members from India, Czech Republic, and the US. And he wanted his team to be more efficient and do the right work, and not waste his time repeating his instructions, but not realizing that others don't operate by the same rules. A lot of misunderstanding happened, miscommunication. As a result, some people worked on the wrong thing. So Tom struggled to deliver on time, and it takes the team a while to deliver the work, and he has to spend extra time correcting it. And so there only one time Tom missed out on a promotion, and the company was wasting resources and could have delivered faster and make the clients happy. Now, delighting clients is what will bring new business. So I met Tom on for brunch, and we had a chat about his frustrations and about his international experience. And I asked him what would it be worth for him that could show him how to do less work and do better work. I worked with Tom to develop his cultural intelligence, so he be able to better relate effectively with his team members. And since CQ is a transferable skill, if a new team member joins from other countries, he can use the same skills. Tom can then develop a trusting relationship with each team member, and he realized that the way he was communicating with his Indian team was incorrect. He's soft-spoken by nature. He didn't want to sound bossy as he was giving instructions. That sounded more like suggestions. How about we use the beacher strategy for this client? He believed in empowering his teams. He grew up in the US after all. The Indian team was expecting clear instructions and were confused. They did not understand what their boss wanted and did not dare ask for questions because of fear of sounding stupid. So they did the work in three possible approaches. So whatever those three ways of doing your work, because they didn't know which one the boss wanted, they would do the three ways. The extra work meant it would take longer. Tom had less time to review and correct, and often he had to make the corrections himself because there was no time to give the feedback back to the team. This also meant that the work was subpar because people were in a rush to finish the work, 3 times the work, in a time frame that was only really sufficient for 1 time. So by developing his cultural intelligence, Tom understood how to adapt his leadership and his communication style so that the message is sent but also received effectively, the right behavior ensues, so that in the end there's better production, better product, faster, under budget, and they ended up delighting clients, and the following promotions, like his career, took off following this interaction. So we had local team, diverse, distributed team. Let's look at a startup. This is where I spent many years. You had Julia, who was trying to find the customer market fit as fast as possible. They're trying to solve an old problem in a new way, and the tricky situation is that they haven't yet found a good way to do it. But if they don't manage to solve the issue, they're going to run out of money, and the company will fold. So I met her at a conference where I was speaking, and Julia shared her challenge and asked her how she's leveraging diversity. And Julia said they're getting along well, so she doesn't need any challenges. But then I asked her, like, are you sure that there's not more that you can do? So I coached Julia to be a better leader by developing her cultural intelligence, and she learned how to motivate each different member, especially in stressful times, by connecting to the goals in an individual wise. So for some members, they care about their profession. Some other members, it's about their family and posterity. So these differences can happen just as a variance in one culture, but in some cultures, one is more common than the other. The US culture is more about doing versus many Latin cultures, it's about being. So how you motivate people changes. So by developing, and also she found how to make everybody comfortable enough to contribute their perspective and their ideas. So she didn't realize that some people were not very comfortable speaking up, and they would just do what they're told, but not volunteer any kind of suggestion. Once these people were able to share their ideas, they're able to put together all their perspectives to come up with better solutions. So by developing her CQ, Julia was able to inspire and motivate her team to come up with better solutions and outmaneuver her competitors. They ended up raising a Series A and are on their way to growing the break-even already, and they're on their way to growing their business. Another example is healthcare or community service. Here you're trying to help people in one way or another. There was Dr. Lee, who was a young doctor here in San Francisco, and he wanted the best outcome for his patients. And there was this one patient who had prediabetes, but was not following his instructions. So if the patient would not follow her, change her behavior, her eating habit, Dr. Lee was afraid that she might develop full-blown diabetes, which might shorten her life and really impact her quality of life. So Dr. Lee was getting very frustrated, and this is when I was introduced to him, and I coached Dr. Lee on CQ. By using his cultural intelligence, Dr. Lee was able to relate to his patient and understand her cultural context. For her, losing weight would mean that she would be less attractive to her husband. So no wonder that she was not following Dr. Lee's advice. After all, what she ate was what her parents ate and for generations. She didn't see what was wrong with it. But as Dr. Lee still saw that, for her family was very important. She explained to her that if she was to see her daughters grow old, she had to change her behavior so that otherwise her life may be in danger. This was enough to make an immediate change for her patient, for his patient, his behavior. So here, by developing his cultural intelligence, Dr. Lee is now able to better understand and relate to his patients who are of diverse backgrounds and know how to convey the important step changes or behavior they have to do in order to have the best outcome possible for themselves. And when it comes to expanding to new markets, it's also very useful. There's Francois who wanted to expand his healthcare business, health supplement business to the US. At first, he assumed that what worked well in France and Belgium would work well in the US. Sales were slow to take up, so he invested a lot of money into his project, and he had to show progress to his board. So if it did not work out, the invested money would be lost, business might not recover, and he may lose out on a promotion and opportunities. So he saw a live training I offered a few months back, and he came to me to ask me for help. By developing his cultural intelligence, he understood that what somebody finds appealing is culturally bound. So everyone wants to be healthy, that's universal, but how to promote the product is cultural. So they have to make some adaptations on the way, the packaging, the color scheme, for the same product to be appealing in the US versus France. So by using his cultural intelligence, he was able to relate to the culture and understand how to best market to them. He has since been able to use the same skill to expand the business to Senegal and the UAE. Now, in terms of fun or pleasure, for short-term travel, for work or even for fun, this skill can really also make it so that you have much better experiences, and which can lead to good networks, which can have back on the professional side. Jason, in this case, Jason wanted to negotiate a trade deal with Lebanon, and his first trip was not very productive. He felt that he had trouble building rapport and trust with the locals. The other party wanted to take the conversation in other directions. As a salesperson, a big part of his compensation is quotas. So if you miss a quota, he misses out on a lot of money. He may even get fired if he fails to repeatedly close deals. We met through a common friend who connected us initially for me to provide some restaurant suggestions because our common friend knew that I've been to Lebanon. So as you see, we connected over food, like shared interest. And eventually I helped him with some other things. It's by developing his cultural intelligence, he understood that there are more than one way to do business. Moreover, he's able to develop and build deep relationship and engage on a human level with different people. So not only he closes great deals, but also got a lot of referral business, because in the Arab world, it's all about relationship. The first time you meet, it's about getting to know the person. It doesn't matter how sweet the deal is, if you don't trust or like the person, you don't do business. So now he knows how to do that, build a relationship, and so this is a skill he already had, but he didn't know that he had to use it. You see, so it's sometimes a small adjustment of how to use a given skill. So by using his cultural intelligence, now he's able to adapt his strategy, his behavior to suit the cultural context. Since then, he has always met and surpassed his target quotas, and he's been very grateful since. That was a short-term trip. If you go for a long-term trip, as a long-term posting or as immigrant or expat life, then you can have a situation where, for example, Bashir, he was moving his family to Germany. He wanted to establish himself for 5 years, for a 5-year contract, and make sure his family and kids are comfortable and happy, so he can continue developing his career. He found that Germans were cold and distant and also as rude. His wife was also unhappy, not having any friends, or spent her days alone at home when the kids were at school. After 6 months, his wife was increasingly miserable, which put a toll on the family life as well. Bashir was considering ending the assignment early and returning to Cairo. So on a professional level, if he did that, that would not be good for his career, and and also his professional relationships. On the personal side, even how unhappy his wife was taking a toll on his marriage as well. Children who had an easier time to adapt because they were younger, they still felt the stressful atmosphere at the house, and Karim, who was 12, started to act out. So I met Bashir through a common friend, and Bashir hired me to work with him and his wife, family, and together so they can manage this challenge together and strengthen the family as well. So by developing his cultural intelligence, Bashir was able to understand as well how Germans communicate differently and also work differently. It only took a small shift in his understanding to have a big impact. Many of his colleagues don't have much cross-cultural work experience either, so they don't have the tools to have Bashir adapt and integrate into their companies. They don't know why they do what they do. It's just normal to them. So by understanding how Germans communicate, both for instructions and feedback, and the dynamics between boss and subordinate, he starts to find a much easier time to work with them, and he appreciates the German culture for its directness. He finds that it's very efficient to get to work things done. His wife also learns about herself and the differences with the German culture. By using her cultural intelligence, she's able to build rapport with the neighbors on the same floor by connecting with their love of children and food. They go to the park together and invite each other for dinner and share cooking tips and recipes. So she's also happy that her children get exposed to various cultures so that when they are in a similar situation, they're able to intuitively handle these diverse environments. She makes friends and other German mothers as well as immigrants from other Arab countries like Qatar as well as Colombia and China. 3 months later, she's part of a language exchange club as well as a local mothers support group and no longer wants to leave. To the contrary, she is like to extend their stay until the children are ready for university. In my work with them, I also help them to be supportive to each other by showing how to be aware of their reactions, feelings, and journal them and create a safe space for each other to discuss the situation. They also invite the children from time to time to take part in their shared experiences. So by developing the cultural intelligence, Bashir was able to be more effective and successful in his work environment and develop deep professional networks in Germany, not just among Germans, but also other communities who are not German or from his own country, Egyptian. So that now his network is spreading in many countries, many ethnicities. By developing her cultural intelligence, his wife was able to make new friends, both across German and other immigrant cultures, and create a community of friends and feel supportive. Both appreciate the value of CQ and raise their children with this in mind. Their marriage came also stronger out of this experience. Now, as you travel for vacation, you can also have these deeper experiences. I think we touched that on an earlier chapter. So you have Jim, for example, Jim, who wants to travel to get a deeper understanding of the people he visits in the countries. He's friendly, open-minded, Midwesterner, is always well received, and does not understand why, in this case, when he goes to Portugal, was it Portugal? Yeah, people seem like they're frowning and they look suspicious. Jim is at a loss, and he starts to think that maybe it's something wrong with him, or just some cultures are unfriendly, which in general seems logical. It doesn't seem logical because he knows that there's a wide range of people in the given group or culture. So traveling is expensive, and he finds it boring if he just stays on the surface and looks at the work of long gone artists in museums. He feels he's hungry for human connections. So Jim and I meet at the airport lounge when I chat him up because he looked like somebody I knew. With a great conversation on experiential travel and how it should be, and it really resonates with him, and he hires me to help him. So by developing his cultural intelligence, he gets a better understanding of both their cultural identity and how given cultures are similar or different than his as he travels the world. And to not judge and interpret a certain behavior based on his context, but that of that person. Given that he's already outgoing and sociable, He's able to quickly use this skill to learn how to adapt his approach to building rapport and friendship with a variety of people. By using his cultural intelligence, he's able to build rapport and connect with locals with a variety of cultures and create amazing experiences that he couldn't pay for, like being invited by a family to share a meal or join them on like a boat ride as that family went out to take one of their sales boats in the Mediterranean. So as you could see, these are case studies. I hope one or more can apply to you to help you illustrate how cultural intelligence comes in and can help you to have a better outcome, more successful, more happy, just have a better, high level of existence. So as a homework, I'd like to know which one is most applicable to you, and based on the stories here, which one is yours closer to your case, and what you could do differently the next time that happens to you. So share it in your journal. There's also this worksheet in the course note, and also I'd love if you could come and share it with you in the group. Okay, see you next time.